we're going to be going over some features and functionality in Dynamics 365 that enables your organization to scale quickly without losing the flexibility to extend and implement new processes and adjust to market trends. So we won't be diving deep into every feature and accounting functionality available in Dynamics 365, but we're going to showcase some features that make it different from other ERP solutions and more flexible as your organization grows. So please feel free to ask questions during the webinar today. We'll get those answered at the end in a Q&A section, and the webinar is going to be recorded, so we will send that out in a follow-up email as well. So keep an eye out for that in your inbox. So for today's agenda, we're going to look at a high-level functionality overview, just some of the modules that are available in Microsoft Dynamics 365. And in that overview, we're going to actually discuss, we included a slide today about the licensing updates. Don't want to focus too much on that. It's a little bit technical, but just wanted to clarify that Microsoft has released licensing updates for the product that actually separate Dynamics 365 for finance and operations into two solutions, one that's focused on the finance, one that's focused on the supply chain and manufacturing features, and the licensing update reflects that as well. So just wanted to clarify that today's functionality overview incorporates both of those modules, and while the title of the webinar is called Finance and Operations, that product is now Dynamics 365 Finance and Dynamics 365 Supply Chain. So we'll take a look at that slide and you'll get a better understanding of how that works. We're also going to go over some industry enhancements that make Microsoft Dynamics 365 a little more capable for many organizations right out of the box, as well as the unique navigation and user experience, the familiarity with Office 365, as well as the ease of extension and customization capabilities with the Power Platform that comes available on the Microsoft platform. So just a little bit about Turnkey Technologies before I hand it off to Jessica here. We are a Gold Microsoft partner. We were founded in 1994 in St. Louis, Missouri. And since our founding, we've been focused on helping businesses maximize the results of their Microsoft solutions. Originally, that started off as Great Plains back in the 90s before it was acquired by Microsoft and became Dynamics GP. And we've now fully evolved into a Microsoft Dynamics 365 solution provider, which includes finance and operations, Business Central, customer engagement, Power BI, and Office 365 as well. So in our goal of helping businesses make the most of their Microsoft solutions, we like to offer these types of educational webinars to kind of open new doors and ideas about what you can do with your solution, or just educate the community about the products in general. So we're excited to present this webinar with you today, and hope you get some real value out of the presentation. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Jessica.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to talk about the functionality overview of finance and operations. So Dynamics 365 F&O means, the F&O stands for finance and operations. Why should you go to Dynamics 365? It allows you to have the core accounting package, so accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger, but it also allows you to become more industry specific. So it allows for additional features such as manufacturing, retail, and a few other areas that are very specific to people that they don't get out of every common accounting package. It also allows you to have a cloud-based solution, so you could access it anywhere in the world. You can also build reports and maintain information and see the utilizations using charts and graphs within your system. And you can easily build those intelligent reports, as well as provide them to your board members or any other people who are interested in seeing those analytics. You can, like I was saying before, you can go look at your business and maintain it using a mobile app, and what you'll see in the supply chain, where you can see how you can relieve inventory and review all your analytics in that regard. It also allows you to grow. So F&O, since it is a web-based solution, and it's available everywhere and anywhere, Microsoft does update it very regularly, like you see on your Windows updates on your computer. It will update and make sure to add any enhancements and allow you to really grow your product and not have to worry about when you need to upgrade or any of that issues that many people find with regular on-prem solutions. So looking at all of the available options that are, as you can see in this slide, there is finance and operations, which is a core module, and then you can also add, like I was saying, the enhancements. You can add the talent, which is based on HR and maintaining employees. You can also have retail-specific industries. There are features geared towards marketing, as well as field service, customer service, sales, which is really geared towards customer relationships, so CRM if you're used to that system, and then also allowing you to automate your projects. This is what Brad was referring to about the licensing update. So there is, as he was referring, there are base licenses that you have for each area, as well as the attached license. So if you do want to learn more about it, you can let us reach out to us, and we will be happy to go through how the licensing actually works and how you can add features and what the cost would be in that regard. Microsoft Dynamics 365 offers complete flexibility to deploy the system on-prem, in the cloud, or in a hybrid model, meaning both on-prem and in the cloud. All with a single unified code base, so that allows you to have very fluid transitions between both on-prem and in the cloud. The cloud-based deployment option leverages the Azure cloud, and which is the leading cloud-based platform for businesses. Choosing the cloud-based deployment provides access to Microsoft's global network of modern data centers, which means that it has the security, they have the disaster recovery, the privacy, making sure you stay in compliance with your regulatory needs, as well as it's very available, like I said, anywhere in the system or anywhere in the world. The other major benefits of cloud deployment are you reduce your IT overhead, and you can eliminate the hardware investments, which is very costly with people who have on-prem servers. It helps you to clear out that room that's very cold that you have to maintain, because you have to maintain your servers and make sure that they stay cool. The other great things about cloud deployment is full redundancy, meaning you guarantee the maximum uptime for everyone, because when the systems are down, you are unproductive. You cannot enter your orders, you cannot enter your purchases, you cannot maintain your system, you can't perform your manufacturing processes. So there's a high redundancy with allowing high availability and disaster recovery, which is at no additional charge when you go with this model. It also allows you to simplify user provisioning with using a native web browser interface and no client software, meaning you don't have to maintain a remote desktop server to have people access the software. They just have to log into a browser and launch the software. You also gain full mobility on any platform and device. The Active Directory, so your organization's Active Directory is integrated, and it allows you to leverage your corporate Active Directory authentication to simplify the management of accounts. So it's easy to create users and also inactivate the users or remove users. So the global features, which is great for finance and operations, because many people in a market who have more than one company, they need to have intercompany set up, right? They have to have the intercompany general ledger transactions that happen, as well as having several companies. That means you have several customer lists and vendor lists to maintain. This allows you, so finance and operations allows you to have vendors and customers flow between both organizations. So if you have some customers and vendors that are specific to a legal organization, you can specify that, but you can also easily update and maintain records to flow between all organizations if you need to. There's also the multi-currency aspect of it, which many people have in their accounting softwares currently, but it is an available option. as well as multiple different languages that you could have. So there are 40 different languages spoken around the world, and you can see all your screens and reports reported in that matter. Moving on to industry enhancements, like I was referring to before, there are various sectors that you could have. You could have retail, so you have, like I was saying before, you have your core modules such as general ledger, accounts payable, cash and bank, expense reports, accounts receivable, fixed assets. Those are our core modules that we really think about. And as you see up here, there are industry-specific enhancements you could add. You can add the manufacturing aspect if you have any. You can also add retail and service industries, as well as public sector and distributions. On the slide, you will also see there are different reporting analytics that is referring to, as well as if you have the mobile apps, you can utilize it on mobile apps, as well as there's Office integration, allowing you to enter a journal entry in Excel and then have those lines, after you hit save, pop up into the operations database or the operations system. And that means you don't have to copy, paste, or worry about entering each individual line except into Excel, which is very easy to edit and then update into the system. Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operation unifies global financials and operations to empower people to make fast and informed decisions. It helps businesses to adapt quickly to changing market demands and drive rapid business growth, mainly using your analytics and reports that you can create. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Retail, for example, is an end-to-end retail solution that delivers unified commerce across all channels. It helps to encompass the sales, the mobility, the intelligence, as well as the productivity, which helps retailers and workers achieve more in cloud-first, mobile-first manner. So it helps to make sure that it creates that just-in-time solution that everyone is always in demand and always wants to have their answer immediately. Going into our core modules, we have, for example, our financial management. These are what we consider our core. The accounts payable, the accounts receivable, the budgeting, the cash and bank management, compliance, which is more in relation to reporting, so financial reporting. Cost accounting, if you perform cost accounting, which not everyone does, but it is part of the core package, as well as maintaining your fixed assets, general ledger, of course. Project management, you can utilize, the best part about project management is it's not just specific to an industry. You can use project management to create mini projects in which you are, for example, construction in progresses. So if you are building assets, you can create projects within the project management module and track all the POs and everything related to a fixed asset. And then once at the very end that you've completed your construction in progress, you can convert it into an actual fixed asset. And that fixed asset will have all those POs and everything related to that construction attached to it and easily creates that fixed asset for you. And the other item that is a part of the core package for financial is public sector, which not everyone is a governmental agency, so therefore they wouldn't use it, but it is part of that core package. Talking about accounts receivable, so this is our little blurb about accounts payable and what it means, and how F&O utilizes that process. So the next few slides will go through these core modules and what it means for everyone, and how F&O, the flow throughout F&O. You can use invoice matching. So for example, in your accounts payable, you can either enter just the invoice, which a lot of people do, or if you start off with a purchase order or purchase requisition, you can start with that and then do a three-way match in which you receive the product and then receive the invoice for that product. After that, you then, if it's a three-way match, you then submit for payment and then settle the payment and move on from there. The other items you can track are the pay expense and commissions for as well as salary. You can also perform refund for customers very easily. So if you have the customer invoice and then you need to refund it, it will be attached to that customer. For accounts receivable, same thing. You can start with a sales order, or you can just start with a free text invoice, in which is just an invoice without any line detail, such as product that you're actually selling or service actually being performed for a customer. Or you can just enter the sales order, which can start with a quote, or it can start with just an order itself. And then from there, this shows you the flow of, you then can enter prepayments. You would then invoice the customer if it originated from a sales order, and then you would enter and receive the payment, settle the payment, and then there are aging reports and statements that you can print also for the accounts receivable side of it. Here we're going to talk about our budgeting. So the processes for both long-term strategic planning and annual budgeting are supported through the budget plan document. So the budget plan documents are tightly integrated with Microsoft Excel, like I was referring to about the general ledger side, which allows you to easily maintain and review it in Excel, as well as enter any updates in Excel and then have it push into F&O. You can configure unlimited monetary and quantitative scenarios, which will allow you to forecast and determine where your budgets really need to fall into place. The great part about it also is that it's not just ledger-based budgets, but you can also have project budgets as well as fixed asset budgets, demand forecasting, workforce budgets, and cost accounting and inventory budgets. So it's not just limited as what some people use to a summary level on the GL, which would be your ledger budget, but it also flows to various other aspects of the finance and operations package itself. So it really helps you to maintain and make sure your inventory and everything that you could possibly budget for is met within your needs. This is what a budget planning within F&O looks like itself. So as you can see, there's milestones in which you can perform. So as you see, you can set up different scenarios of when it was approved, who the stakeholders review it, and then you see that there's a tab for budget plans as well as forecast positions. For cash and bank, it's very straightforward, or it should be very straightforward. You receive the funds from the customers, so once you settle the customer payments, it will flow over to the bank funds to be deposited, or you can just enter a deposit itself. You would then also reconcile your bank accounts in the system, as well as you could have it be a manual process or an electronic process. You can also transfer bank funds. This is where it gets into, if you have the banks in one entity or in several different legal entities, you can easily transfer the funds between them, as well as manage letters of guarantee, so your promissory notes and any outstanding loans. As for compliance, there are various options with the financial reporting package that helps you to maintain and deploy all the different types of reports that you could possibly need to stay in compliance. For the cost accounting aspect of it, it allows you to collect the data from various sources such as general ledgers, subledgers, budgets, and statistical information. You can then analyze, summarize, and evaluate cost data so that management can make the best possible decisions for the price updates, budgets, cost control, and so on. So anyone who utilizes cost accounting, you can absolutely, as you see here, this is the model in which it is configured and allows you to define your allocations if you have any, as well as has overhead calculations. So if you maintain your employees within the system, you can also perform overhead calculations, as well as on the supply chain side, it will feed into that as well. Talking about fixed assets, so most everyone has fixed assets, and this allows you to capitalize them. You can transfer them between different legal entities. as well as different locations. You can revalue your assets easily. You can also split fixed assets. So if some were partially disposed, you can maintain that also. But you can also depreciate as well as retire any fixed assets. And this is what it looks like within F&O at this point, or a little snapshot of how you can review the summary of fixed assets. This is a snapshot of what a book would look like within F&O. As you can see, you can have several different books, and these books unfortunately are not automatically updated. You have to update with any changes to the FASB or GASB regulations. And this is another snapshot of what you could see with a fixed asset itself. So it talks about the books related to that fixed asset. Talking about the general ledger side, you do have the ability to, what you have to set up first are your main accounts, and then you can set up dimensions. So many people have to, in the general accounting software, have to have a whole string, whereas in F&O, you just have to have the main account, and then depending on the module, you can attach a dimension to it. Talking briefly about project accounting. So project management allows you to, in the next slide, as you see here, you first initiate a project, you execute a project, and you analyze a project. Like I was referencing before, you can use it to create all sorts of different projects, whether it's construction in progress, whether it's an actual project in which you are expecting to invoice a customer, or just maintain, for example, vendor. If you go to trade shows, you could also maintain projects in that regard too. So you could track to see how beneficial it was to go to a trade show and whether you had any leads or any sales that came from that part of it. And then the next few slides just talk about the processes of executing, analyzing, as well as a little bit more about project management and accounting and what you can do with it. This is a snapshot of what project management looks like within F&O. Again, another breakdown, so this shows you what happens with that WIP and consumption. So the different tabs, the general is just a summary of the project, and then the profit and loss will tell you if this was a profit or a project that you were expecting to receive an invoice and whether you've received it, as well as the WIP, and the consumption is then, once you get into that part of it, the consumption then would be transferred to an invoice, and then you would eliminate and then go that route. Talking briefly about the public sector. So the public sector, it does have the rules and regulations and reporting requirements needed to serve that. It has fund accounting already built in. It allows you to do preliminary budgets and then encumber those budgets against your expenses, as well as it provides you with electronic payments to vendors, which is part of the regular core package anyway. But the biggest part for the public sector is being able to encumber and commit the transactions. You do have the ability, so this is a different module itself, other than the core. There is human resources, or as we call talent, that allows you to maintain all of your payroll needs and employees within the system. So the next couple of slides shows you what it looks like for the personnel management. A little snapshot of that part of it and how you can review your payroll. The next slide is talking about our supply chain. So this is what Brad was referring to before about our supply chain management. It allows you to maintain, depending on how you're utilizing supply chain, whether you are just doing manufacturing or doing retail or how you're actually using the supply chain. This little snapshot here is a snapshot of what the mobility looks like. So this is that nice feature like I was talking about before, where you can maintain it anywhere in the world and see the inbound and outbound, as well as maintain your production and everything in that regard. This is another snapshot of if you drilled into that outbound button, it would take you to these available options. So allow you to pick and load and pack the information. The next few slides talk about the actual aspects of supply chain, such as master planning. So whether it's static or dynamic. And this is a snapshot of what demand forecasting looks like within F&O. So you have lots of different options to set up for your parameters. And depending on the parameters, this then shows you the production floor and what it looks like and how many jobs you have to complete and the deviation as well as any of those other analytics. This also shows you the production side of it. So this allows you to then plan, and as you can see, for example, it allows you to see when you need to meet demand and what time and all of that. The next one is talking about navigation and user experience. So we talked about this is what it looks like within the F&O system and how people, so when you log into the F&O system, it gives you little workspaces that you could then click on and drill in to see that specific workspace. You can set up role-based permissions. So depending on the person who is performing the actions, it does allow you to set that secure access permission to really limit what they can do, whether they can post, whether they can just enter the transaction, what is their process. Here's another snapshot of what the workspace looks like within the system. So if you clicked on that from your homepage, if you clicked on one of those workspaces, this is what it would look like. As you can see on many of these workspaces, there are analytics and showing you what is open, what is active, and anything you could possibly need. The next is talking about the BI aspect of it, so the Power BI, the business intelligence. Again, all these different analytics that you could create, or so IT usually helps to create it, or even if you're very savvy yourself, you could create some of these different analytics to help you achieve what you're looking for out of the system. Here's another screenshot of what someone has performed for those analytics. So they want to know their invoices, where their sales region is, whether they have a discount, how much is the discount per the invoice, and how much was collected for the year or billed for the year. So the last few slides, or this next slide, is talking about the workflows. So again, going back to the role-based permissions, you can set up different workflows to allow you to see who submitted it, who maintained it, who created it, that kind of thing. You can also set up alerts to have a specific alert to make sure that you are flagged for it and know what to look at in that system or when you log in. The ease of, as you kind of saw with the Power BI part of it, there are Power Apps, Power BI, and the flow, the workflow, which allows you to integrate into Office 365, to also Dynamics 365, as well as different standalone apps. So you can build and consume various solutions for web and mobile with Power Apps, which allows you to really utilize it and see it throughout the world. And as you can see, you can integrate your business processes, so you can really, depending on if you're a developer or just a standard person, you can really go from very basic to very customized. You can put all of your data to work within these apps to allow you to really fully utilize the system and pull all the information you could possibly need out of the system, as well as help amplify your professional developer productivity. So you're really taking your developers' talents to the next level. As well as the Office 365 integration, as we were referring to, you are able to open it in Excel and then enter your information and then push it back up into Dynamics 365. So it's a seamless connection. It allows you to quickly change and analyze your data. The connector app interacts with Excel workbooks and OData services that are created for the publicly exposed data entities. You can also maintain documents within Dynamics 365 and review. So make yourself, instead of a paper-based person, you could really become paperless with this solution. You are able to also utilize SharePoint online for your document management as we're referring to, and also use Teams or Skype and any other solution that is integrated into our Office 365 environment.
Okay, thanks, Jessica. If there are any questions at this time, please feel free to submit them. Otherwise, you can always reach us via email or through our website or call us. You'll have our contact information in that email tomorrow, along with these PowerPoints and the recording of this presentation as well. And the link will be in there for the ERP Fit Gap assessment as well. If you are interested and you're doing some research around Microsoft Dynamics 365, we can certainly help simplify that research for you in a no obligation assessment with one of our consultants, where we'll kind of drill down into your goals and just see if that's going to be a good fit from a budgetary and business process perspective and IT perspective. So we do hope to hear from you as far as the ERP Fit Gap is concerned. Again, it's a complimentary offer, no charge. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you again for joining us today. Jessica, thank you for presenting, and I hope everybody has a great day.